Originally released in 2002 for the WonderSwan Color and later released in the Game Boy Advance where it likely got the most attention, Riviera the Promised Land has been remastered once again, releasing in July for PC and just last week for the Switch. Featuring traditional JRPG presentation and art style with turn-based combat and fairly linear exploration, the game places a strong emphasis on spicing up the mindless parts of RPGs in an attempt to maintain variety and tension throughout. This results in a focus on mechanics rather than story, with mixed results, but more on that later. The game opens with a history lesson on the region. 1,000 years ago there was a cataclysmic war called Ragnarok between Asgard, the land of the gods, and Utgard, the land of demons. To eventually win the war, the gods of Asgard sacrificed themselves to create ultra-powerful champions dubbed Grim Angels. All Grim Angels have an indestructible weapon called a Diviner and wings. Think Grim Reaper, but anime as hell. With the prowess of the Grim Angels, Asgard and the gods are victorious in their battle against evil, and the demons are sealed away, cleansing Utgard of its corruption, while the newly freed land is renamed Riviera. Riviera has been at peace ever since, but recently is once again showing signs of demon activity. From here we are introduced to the protagonist Ein alongside his less than happy angel friend Lada. The pair has been tasked with traveling to Riviera and activating the Retribution, a mysterious power that will destroy the demons and likely Riviera once and for all. But first, in order to reach Riviera, Ein and Lada must fight through the gates of heaven. The battle through Heaven's Gates serves as a tutorial section where we take control of Ein and receive a brief introduction to traversal and fighting mechanics. In the overworld, you toggle between Move Mode, used to travel to the next stage of the map, and Search Mode, used to interact with objects such as chests and mysterious cracks in walls. In battle, the D-pad is used to cycle between attacks and skills, with the option to pull up battle participant data and weaknesses. Additionally, during this tutorial phase, there's a little extra backstory. We learn that Grim Angels need to sacrifice something to receive their weapon. Ein gave up his wings in order to receive his Diviner, and Lada won't tell us what he gave up for his weapon, but all signs point to him giving up his sense of humor. That being said, Lada hard carries us through every battle early on, so I wouldn't say anything to his face. Ultimately, before making it through Heaven's Gate, Lada and Ein are split up, with Ein left stuck in Alandia, a town in Riviera, suffering from amnesia and blending in with the locals. From here we meet our first party members and pick up a new mission from Ursula, the guardian of Riviera. Ursula wants us to fight and seal away the accursed, basically demon bosses, once again bringing peace to the lands and nullifying the necessity to activate the Retribution, essentially going against the will of the gods. One strange thing you may have noticed is the use of Norse mythology, utilizing names like Asgard and Ragnarok and references to the Tree of Life. However, these references are more just borrowed cool names and concepts rather than noteworthy additions, so don't worry too much about them. Norse myths aside, the plot definitely isn't going to win any awards for writing. We have demons and gods and the mortals caught in between, pretty standard stuff. And the twists, if you can even call them that, are out in the open from the jump. I mean, if that guy isn't evil, then I'm misreading something. Regardless, having a heroic champion defying the gods is solid enough to not hold the game back, and is largely forgotten for the mid-game as the game loop takes over. There are 4 companion characters you'll meet on your way, with each having their own specialty. Essentially, a swordsman, archer, tank, and mage to go alongside your character Ein. Their dialogue ranges from stereotypical banter to mind-numbingly juvenile or perverse interruptions. And it's no surprise the dialogue has juvenile tendencies, because for some reason everyone in our party and 95% of the game's characters are teenagers or children, leading to some awkward sexualization of our companion Sierra, or much worse, awkward character art of, let's say, less than clothed harpies. Which is a shame because the character art is generally colorful and clean, with tons of personality and fun design. Each character has a signature color scheme with accessories, giant hair, and even bigger epic weapons, providing a standout presentation element in contrast to its more basic Game Boy Advance era backgrounds and sprites. These backgrounds do a good job creating atmosphere, but for the most part are sparse, with areas often containing only a singular chest or item. I actually found this quite charming because I didn't have to walk around interacting with 8 things just to find the one item. Instead, there's just 2 items highlighted and I can select them. I felt it streamlined things nicely. And as for the soundtrack, it's nothing to write home about, with more of a background music effect rather than standing out. The only thing I will add here is after playing the game for a few days straight, the battle sequence audio can get pretty damn repetitive since there are so many battles. The main gameplay loop starts with Ein using the small town of Alandia as his base of operations, with freedom to move between several areas within the town, but ultimately little to do but head to the Elder's house to be sent off and continue advancing through each of the game's 7 chapters. Progressing through such chapters is mostly linear, with the option to explore the area you are directly in or progress to the next area, with the minimap display in the top right growing as you explore. Each area comes with items of interest and or enemies to defeat, and typically has a puzzle or gimmick. Puzzles mostly just require a lot of reading and remembering, but don't worry, side quests and bonus items often come from taking the wrong directions, so you win either way. Many interactable items have a minigame associated with them to keep you on your toes. Trying to open a chest, boom, here's a trap, mash the B button 8 times to get out of the way. Trying to maintain your balance, enter the 6-button code before the time runs out or you're going to fall off the ledge. I like these a lot because they take the mundane and add a small challenge, but the minigames are associated with seemingly every single chest, so after 50 chests, the intrigue can be lost. Still, with non-chest related minigames, I enjoyed the random 10-second challenge. In order to interact with most items in the game, you need what's called trigger points, or TP. TP is awarded at stage end and at the end of every battle. To determine how much TP is earned, each battle is graded based on how many turns it took, whether any of your characters fell, and the level of your special skill used to end the battle. Grades range from C to S, with 1 to 4 TP awarded based on your grade. This means if you perform poorly in battle, you can run out of TP and can't interact with items other than progressing down the main path, which is always free. Initially, this system didn't affect me, as you can stumble into some A's and S's in the early game just by chance, but by chapter 3 I saw my grades dropping and no longer had the necessary TP to open chests, search areas, or grab weapons. The TP system can pretty quickly spiral into missing entire side quests if you get a C rank several times in a row, only made worse by the plethora of unimportant interactions that still cost TP, but reward you with nothing. It's tough when you use your last TP just to hear, "Wow, we are really high up," or something along those lines. In its totality, the TP system is a little harsh, but it also forced me to acknowledge the strategy of the game. After getting a few bad grades and being forced to leave a few items behind, I took a step back, I reevaluated my strategy, putting more thought in for each battle, and once again got my grades up. TP in its design adds a lot of replayability. It's pretty easy to miss a key item or moment after getting a bad grade, making you want to go back and see what you left behind. The TP system also lends credibility to battle grades. Without TP, I could get a C in every battle and remain unbothered as long as I'm progressing along the storyline. Instead, since I need TP, I need to take every battle seriously. When it comes to the actual battles, the key systems are based around enemy weaknesses, weapon limitations, and overskills. In the pre-battle portion of the game, you must select Ein and 2 companions, as well as 4 total weapons or items. With the original rule set, these are the only items you can use for that battle. Once you decide on equipment and items, you can review the enemy to see any weaknesses in areas such as elemental ice, thunder, or fire damage, dark and holy damage, or straight up just physical damage. Like I mentioned previously, the pre-battle phase becomes crucial for success, and since companions can only use certain items, it's easy to make mistakes preparing less than ideal or totally useless weapons for one of the 3 characters. Add in that every weapon has a specific number of uses, and decisions can get pretty tough. The limited use weapons and 4 item maximum during battle was frustrating to get used to, especially making me shy away from support items at times. But when I executed a perfect plan to destroy 3 frontline enemies with a devastating scythe whip combo, it felt extremely rewarding and deserved. The knowledge you gain throughout the game is put to good use constantly, and when paired with the battle grades adds a lot of tension to fights, as you are incentivized to end each fight quickly and decisively. The most decisive way to end battles is with special attacks called overskills. If a character attacks with a weapon they are proficient with a certain number of turns, they unlock an associated overskill and skill up, or essentially level up. As battle progresses, anytime you are hit or deal damage to an enemy, your overskill bar will fill, progressing through stages 1, 2, and reaching 3 when the bar is full. Characters can then use special skills unlocked from using weapons. Level 1 overskills tend to be slightly buffed attacks or add different side effects, whereas level 3 overskills can lead to massive 8-strike attacks or AoE blasts. This system meant as soon as I got a new weapon, I was immensely curious to see what overskills I could unlock. Additionally, Ein's Diviner has a special overskill that can be used at any time regardless of the overskill bar. However, this skill breaks the overskill bar for the remainder of the battle, taking away the opportunity to use any future skills. This is obviously risk-reward, but adds some amazing combo capabilities, like using a level 3 overskill and then immediately using Ein's overskill to follow up, for some immense 2-turn damage. Killing the last enemy with an overskill is one of the key factors in your battle grade, so epic level 3 overskill finales are the way to go if you want S tier. Once I embraced the variety of information I was given and dug into the strategy, battles became continually rewarding, really making you feel like the strategic master and leader of the group. By mid-game, I prioritize and assess the weaknesses of every single enemy before battle to maximize my chances of getting an S rank. My only real gripe with the battle system is the lack of targeting. Instead of choosing your target, you simply attack based on your weapon's preferences. Bows tend to attack the back line and sides tend to attack the entire front line, but some attacks and skills just target randomly, which makes strategizing tougher than it needs to be in a game that's all about strategy. Regardless, once I got a hang of the battle system, I was racing between battles, constantly trying to skill up, and always keeping my eyes peeled for the perfect weapon for the next boss. As good as battle feels, the progression system could be painful at times. Instead of gaining experience with every battle, characters grow when unlocking overskills. In theory, it makes sense. As you use your weapon, your skills grow with that weapon, and in order to continually grow, you need to use different weapons. But in the mid-game, it just felt like grinding with more steps. When receiving a new sword, I would immediately look and see Fia needs to attack with the sword 3 times to unlock her overskill and skill up. This puts you in a bind because if you go into standard battle with the weapon, you'll have no overskill, and the battle will likely take longer. Longer battle and less overskill chance means lower grade, which means less TP post-battle, which means less exploration. But if you don't choose to use the new weapon, you're missing out on the hit point and stat improvements that you'll gain from skilling up, risking being weak later in the game. This is only made worse by the 4 item per battle limit that I was playing with in original mode, meaning if you want to train a new weapon, it takes up 25% of your total battle inventory. The game tries to remedy this conundrum by giving you the ability to practice with weapons to skill up. But then, I found myself spending just as much time grinding in practice mode as I did actually enjoying the game, reducing the organic experimentation I think the developers had intended. And I don't really see a way to fix it within this system. If you took overskill finishers out of the grading or reduced grading difficulty, you could experiment more in battle, but that would in turn reduce each battle's tension, so I'm not really sure where the Goldilocks zone is on this one. Other than some weapon grinding, I feel overall the game does as good as it can, allowing you to play how you want. Standard difficulty settings let you change enemy lethality with an additional nightmare difficulty unlocking after your first playthrough. Also, you can choose between different rule sets with options to limit your inventory size to 15 items like the original game. I played this way. I do not recommend. You also get new rule sets after your first playthrough, introducing essentially super casual freedom mode and the high level mode, which doesn't allow for any practice. So no grinding, so just get good. Quality of life add-ins are extended into the main game as well, which can be fast forwarded at different speeds up to 5 times faster. So I have to give credit here. The developers did everything they could to fit the game to different preferences. At the end of the day, Riviera the Promised Land is a classic RPG trying to make it in the new world. I appreciated the quality of life features and varied difficulty options, the beautiful hand-drawn character art, and genuinely enjoyed the fun battle system that I felt rewarded attention to detail and strategy. I was able to get past the redundant dialogue and found myself wanting to grind out more skill ups after work. Ultimately, I'm giving Riviera a 7 out of 10. It's a solid turn-based RPG, especially for handhelds like the Switch and Steam Deck. If you play games for story or character development, I wouldn't recommend this game to you. But if you're looking for light strategy, Riviera offers quick, quality battles consistently and is linear enough that you won't feel lost when returning after time away, all wrapped up in a 15-hour replayable adventure. So if you liked or didn't like Riviera, let me know why in the comments. Or if there are any other RPGs I should look at, let me know. With this, I thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.